Here's a scene that we're going to be painting. I like these canals as kind of a design element coming towards us, but then there's also a reflection in them, so you get something light down in the ground. And the sun looks like it's going to come out from behind the clouds at any moment. And we'll have some nice pops of light and color here in the foreground, but with also some kind of harsh shadows. The big mountains in the background. I love this line of dark trees cutting across kind of the upper third. Big blue sky. Let's get started. And you'll notice right here off the bat, I start out this painting, unlike most of any of my other demos, without any drawing. So I've gone straight in with color and am trying to suggest at the scene. I felt confident enough that I didn't need to spend time drawing. I knew that I only literally had 20 minutes to work on this, and so time was definitely limited, and I thought that I could get away without having to draw. And I definitely recommend these kind of quick session paintings. You know, there's a lot of painters who every time they have that blank canvas in front of them, they have this pressure to perform, you know, this pressure to make sure you do a nice painting. And that's the biggest thing to hold you back, is when you're trying to be perfect, or when you're trying to do, you know, a good job. You know, there's areas in painting that you need to explore, and you can only try exploring those things whenever you're okay not having a successful painting. You'll find and discover new things, and I think that limiting your time is an area where you find things that you wouldn't have found in your work if you had unlimited time. Right here I'm trying to find that value in the color of the distant mountains, which is a little tricky to find some of these little values in color tones because it's distant and it's cool, but it's being hit by light. And so it's one of those tricky areas that can sometimes be hard to find. And here I go into the sky again on this ridge to the left without drawing in the ridge, but I'm just drawing in the negative space. And then here in a minute I'll address that second ridge. And that cool blue that I'm dipping into is my phthalo blue. And some of those distant shadows really have a nice chromatic pop to them. And so that's where I'm dipping into that phthalo, and then my celestial blue, which is basically cerulean. And like I say often, I'm just trying to hint at everything in there, and especially with a 20-minute sketch, I know that I'm not going to be able to fine-tune everything. I know that I'm probably going to end the session with aspects of the painting that I'm not happy with, but as much as I can possibly get done in 20 minutes is what I'm going for. And sometimes these quick sketches turn out nice and you can put a frame on them and feel happy with them. And other times they're total bombs, and maybe it's just a good experience. Maybe you just learn something. Regardless, I think that it's good to do these type of exercises. And this is certainly an area where if I was painting a larger painting, or if I just had unlimited time, I would probably try to describe a little bit more of this kind of brush and the different things that are happening along the canal. But with a 20-minute time limit, I'm not concerned with trying to describe all of that detail. This is the tree that's across the canal, has a nice reflection in it, and I really think it's a nice element in the painting. And here, like I have been doing on these mountain paintings that I've done recently, is using a soft, round synthetic, and then kind of a wet mixture of whatever color I'm using. So here, that actually went a bit too dark, but I'm using a cool kind of a purplish wet mixture going right back into the wet paint that I had, but I felt like I was already getting a little too careful, a little too precious with it. So I went back to this little bit larger brush, which is like a number 2 or so filbert. So a small brush, but something that's going to cover a lot of area on this little painting. And I went back to it just to try to mass in some of this and not feel like I'm trying to get too finicky with it. And I've actually been painting quite a few small paintings recently. I'm having a show in August here in Montana, and I have a lot of nice medium size and a few larger paintings, but I really don't have many small paintings. And so, I love to paint big paintings so much that I often avoid these smaller paintings, but I like to have them in a show. I like to have a variety of sizes, but the only way I'm really able to make myself do these small paintings is to not take a large canvas with me, because I guarantee you, if I had a large canvas in the car, I would have just attacked this scene, even in 20 minutes probably, on a bigger canvas, and just started something that I would come back and revisit many times. But I've been only taking small canvases with me when I go out recently, and at least I can get a lot of small things started, maybe some small sketches that are nice. But doing a lot of these is going to give me some nice options for the show coming up in August. And here I just felt like I wasn't quite getting the pop of light that I was seeing. And it also needed some variety in application. And so here I really just went to change it up pretty drastically with some of those lighter marks, some different textures and variety on the surface of the canvas. And then kind of addressing the canal in the same way. And now that I have kind of some of the structure already created up here in the mountain, I am going back with this small brush, trying to hint at some of those small varieties. And so you just find yourself in the scenario where it's kind of push and pull. You work on it, you cover it up, you put some things back in, go with a bigger brush, come back with a smaller brush. That just about wraps it up for me. And by the way, I wasn't trying to just set an arbitrary 20-minute time. I actually only had 20 minutes. I had a commitment. I had to be somewhere. And so, when you really have to be done in 20 minutes, I think you feel like you have that pressure, kind of a fire lit. And I like those scenarios, and I'm pretty happy with how this sketch turned out.